Hello, my name is Gail Zhou. I'm a data and AI solution architect at Microsoft. In this video, I will show you how to import data from Azure Storage into Azure Synapse Tables. I'll be using the PowerShell scripts from the published GitHub repository, and I will show you how to get to this repository, which modules to run, and how to run the PowerShell scripts. From your browser, you can type GitHub Azure Synapse scripts and accelerators in one word. You get a list of links show up. The first one is what you need. If you click this link, you get to our repository. From here, you can download all of the code and run this code locally from your laptop. For the code we need to run is in this subfolder migration, SQL Server. You will see all of the modules listed here with documentations. This is the process to end-to-end migrate code and migrate data. Today, we are assuming you already migrated the data from your SQL Server to Azure Storage. You need to move the data into Azure Synapse. This is the only thing you need. To do this, we need two modules. One is module 4, generate copy into scripts. This one just generate scripts, put in the folder. Module 5, run SQL files in folder. Basically, run this script you generated. Once it's executed, all of the table data you stored here will be imported into Azure Synapse. This is a process to migrate using BCP export data. There's another process option you use, Polybase, migrate data directly from SQL Server to Azure Storage. So once you have done that, this step, these two options, the rest is the same. You generate the script, run the script, move data into Azure Synapse. So the code you need is module 4 and module 5. I've downloaded all of these modules into my local directory. Here's how I set up. I put all of the modules under migrate master. If you use this structure, all of the config files will work like magic. Now let's see how do I generate code. For this one, you only need to run generate copy into script.ps1, the PowerShell. It takes two config files. One is the table list, one is any one of the JSON files based on your situation is your files in CSV or ORC or Parquet. Today I'm going to show you to use the CSV managed identity approach. So let's review this config file. Storage type can be ADLS or blob. Either this one or blob. I'm using ADLS. So this is a credential is managed identity. This is account name. This is your Azure Storage account name. This is the container where the data is stored. This is a root folder where you under this container you have the data stored. The format CSV, compression. For this one is the none. You can use gzip or some other method supported by copy into command. So this is very generic. So most likely you just keep this one. This field terminator. This is your column separator. You should use the same one you use to export your SQL Server data. This is the raw terminator. This also should be the one same as you use to export data, so that when the command to read your file, it understands the format. Encoding marks errors. This can be a 0 to any integer. If you put a 0, you don't allow any errors. Means if anything doesn't work, your program will not work, right? So you don't allow any mistakes. If you put a 100 and say, hey, if I encounter within 100 errors, I still get data loaded. So we also recommend that you check the error folder, which in Azure under this should be the where this root folder is. So you'll see this error folder created for you when you run the copy command you generated. Data format, you can specify your data format. You need to check the copy into T-SQL script documentation to get the right format here. Otherwise, if you don't specify, we'll just take default. First row, if it's 1, that means your CSV files doesn't have a header. If it's 2, you just instruct us to skip the header. And this one is very important. See, this is a SQL file path where you want the PowerShell script to store the output. Okay, so for us, I'm setting up an output folder for this module, and because I'm using CSV file and using manage identity, this is my folder name. So next one, you need to provide this table list called table config. This column is 1 is active. If it's 0, we'll skip. So active is 1, we'll execute this line, this line, this line. If it's 0, PowerShell will skip this one. This schema name, this is your SQL Server DBO's schema name here. This is your table name. Identity insert. If you have the table, for example, this DIM account have a data field, the data type is identity. So you need to specify this is on. Otherwise, you need to specify it is off. So you need to be familiar with your table structure and be able to set this correctly. This one is very easy. If you want the command to truncate the table before loading the data, this will apply in the truncate reload. If you don't want this truncate reload, you should just don't specify, okay, or say no. Let's see, for me, I need all of that truncated, okay? This is my truncate reload. But give you the option to just continually insert without truncating. This is your Azure Synapse database name, and this is the schema, the table, which is this one can be a different schema. This is the table should be already created. So this is only 2 config file you need. Now let's run this script. I run using Windows PowerShell ISE, which comes with every window. So I'm going to open that. By the way, let me check my output folder. So this is where I want to put in my output. Let's run this. This first I say, where is the config file. This is verify the directory name. For me, my config file is stored where the code is. So I just say yes, it's here. And I was going to ask you, what is the table config CSV file name? For me, this is my file name, which we just reviewed. CSV. Now JSON. I have my own JSON config with my own information, with my own Azure Storage information, folder, stuff like that. So I'm going to provide my own config file here. This is generating this code is really fast. And by the way, only generate like 8 tables. It takes no time. So this is the tables generated. Let's open one of them. See, this gives you a timestamp when the code is generated. See this when you specify yes, this line will be generated for you. We'll truncate this table and then copy into this table. From the data you stored, this is my Azure Storage account name. And this is my container name. This is the root folder name. This is my database name, dbo_dim account. This is going to direct the T-SQL script to look for data in this directory. So now this is generated for you. So this for every table, this script is generated. Now let's take a look of my storage account. Here, this is my storage account. This is my BCP export container. This is where the data is. See, there's a database name. This is schema table name. The structure is designed that each database has own folder, and each table has its own subfolder. So only 2 layers. If you see this is error, if any error generated, it will be stored here. Any rejected rows, you can specify, you can look all. This is the work I did before. Actually, I could even just get rid of this. It's the old. Okay. So this is where my data is. I want to get to the Azure Synapse. This is my Azure Synapse database. I have 8 tables already created. I want to verify if my script is actually working. I'm going to truncate the first 5 tables manually here. Okay, so it's done. Now if you count the table row, it should be 0. Okay, let's just select another one. So at least of this 8 table, I have 5 truncated. Okay, now I want to load the 8 tables into the data into these 8 tables based on my script. These are the 8 copy into command. So how do I do that? I'm going to run module 5. Module 5 is a generic utility which is designed to run any SQL script stored in one folder, as the name implies. It only takes one config file. This is the config file I'm going to use. So this is my Azure Synapse workspace name. This is my logical server name. This is server name. This is my database name. Integrity security is null. That means PowerShell script is going to ask for credentials. This is also directing this module, say, my script is stored here. And please execute all of the script stored in this file. And let's check again if we have that input ready. Yeah, it is here. It's the same. All of the 8 script. So now I'm ready to run the module 5. Okay, module 5, I need to provide exactly the input file name. This is the one I'm going to use. I'm going to just copy the file name. I'm going to run this script. It just say, give me the file name. Let me paste that. Okay, now it's asking me to log in my Azure Synapse. By the way, I'm using Azure SQL authentication. The green one is says success. The purple color is more informational. Okay, so this bottom line, 3 lines say this took 41 seconds, and all of the files actually is processed and moved into a specified folder. By the way, I generate a log file for you. Let's check it out. Okay. First, let's check the code. Output. This is where the code is. It was here. Because it's all processed, we create a folder for you, say, these are all successfully processed. Okay? If there is any file has any error, not processed, will stay in this folder. You can fix that error and rerun the program without even changing the config file. And let's see what else it did for us. On the module file, you have a log folder. Every time you give an input, you generate a log file. This is the latest. This is the Synapse. This is the log it just generated. Let's open this one. Oh, this actually is a previous log file which has errors. Yeah, I think I need to do. Okay, so this is actually the one success. Now, since we're in the error, this is a file I generated early on. I intentionally made some mistakes on the script. Okay, so I'll show you if there's some script didn't run, they'll get say other, there's error message. They'll say there are 4 tables actually I didn't copied over. So this, if you have any errors, it will be generated here, so you can debug your code. So this is the early one. Let's this is the latest. Yeah, this is a newer one. We just generated. This one we just run. Oh, this one everything is success, so you don't have any errors. And also the same as what the screen said. By the way, since we're here, I want to tell you some other features of this log file. So this one is, say this is a script we ran. The duration, this is just the total duration in text format. We also separate these like by hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds. Since these are very small table, it moves very fast. So all of them are done in a few seconds. If you have a big file, suppose this is a fact table. Suppose this is a big fact table. You could really use like maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 25 minutes, 29 minutes, and 2 seconds. Okay, so but this number will give you very good log, and also not only that, you can sum this up. Say what is the total time spent on migrating a lot of tables. This will be very useful for production migration setting, which you measure how long things take and design your ETL process to in order to get everything done in time. Okay, and help you to optimize, find ways to optimize your ETL and shorten this time. This is a very good log file. All right, so we have execute module 4 and 5. We generated the code, move the data. Now we need to verify, see if it actually imported data into it. The first table looks good, 99. Let me just check the last one. It's a fact table. So all of the record is already import. If you want to check data, you can, from here, you can say, let's see, let me look at the data. So here you can review the data. Okay. So it looks like all of these tables are successful. If, of course, you want to test everyone, you could. For me, I just did a spot check. Okay. You could do, let's see this one. Yeah, this is a fact table. Okay, so it just give you a view of the data you imported. With that, we have been successful carry out the 2 steps. To summarize what we did today, since your data is already here, we generate a copy into script, we run a script, we copy the data over from Azure Storage to Synapse. Okay, the data is not moved; it still stays here. It's a copy. And this is the same process for the BCP export method or polybase. If you use either of the option, this step is exactly the same. All right, I hope this video is helpful for you to test your script and perform a SQL Server to Synapse migration. Thank you very much and have a great day.